Hi, we're Team 13B and consist of two apprentices, Alex Coles and John Barrett. Our challenge was to use the Northern Ireland planning data to try and understand what factors influence a planning application and what prediction can be made for future applications using this data. There are a number of questions that we plan to answer throughout this presentation. Our process was as follows. First, we had to understand the planning process itself, researching key dates, linked processes, and the standard application. We then had a data cleaning exercise, removing irrelevant and incomplete information. Data categorization was a key task of ours. We had to identify a set of primary and secondary categories, which were application type and sector that the data could be split into, and develop a method of doing this. We also had to identify the difference between major work and minor work. We had a basic interpretation and validation task where we would assess whether the outcomes were as we expected and refine the categorization to improve the results. A key task was to visualize and present the findings. We used Power BI to review correlations and work out effective ways of communicating trends and answer the questions. And we had a back-end piece of work of defining the issues and limitations with what we've done so far and how we can make this better for the future. Alex is now going to talk you through our Power BI models.
This first page looks to give an insight into how long applications take and what the chances of success are. So in order to do this, it looks at the classified data and asks a user to fill out a quick questionnaire. So for example, if somebody is applying in Armagh for a full application, which is a major development in the domestic or residential sector, you can see that there were, or the user can see that there were 105 applications that were similar to this, of which 88 were successful. So within Armagh, there is an 84% chance of success. We see that the average successful application takes 338 days. However, we think the most useful measure is the median, which is 268 days. You can see from the histogram here that quite often there is a long tail on these applications. So the beauty of this page is that it allows anybody with any type of project to quickly get the data that backs up how long it will take and what their chances of success are. The next sheet looks to give a bit more of an insight into the differences between the regions with the data. So it looks to answer the question on whether you've got a better chance of success in one region or another. So you can see that shown on the left-hand side here in terms of the amount of permission granted and in the table in the middle here. So for example, I can see that in Mid-Ulster, for full applications, they have an average of 86% granted, and we can obviously compare to lots of different types here. On the next slide, you can see the same analysis but done by company to start to look at whether different companies have a better or worse chance of success. Now, the final slide shows a comparison between the different authorities and how long the process takes. So, for example, we can see that in Belfast, an average application takes nearly 3 times longer than in Enniskillen, and we can start to break this down into the different sectors. So, for example, commercial applications take longest in Lisburn and Castlereagh, and again are quickest in Enniskillen. Now this can be sliced and diced depending on the type of application as before, and we can see that this could be really useful for somebody working in central government to understand where delays are likely to occur. The final slide shows the words that make up the descriptions of the applications, and these are really useful for writing the code that allows us to automatically classify the type of project by sector or by scale.
There are a number of issues and limitations that have worked so far. One is data quality. There's a reliance on qualitative, unstructured data in our categorization. There are spelling mistakes, synonyms, and terms with multiple meanings, which can skew the results. There's also a data categorization factor, where multi-category items or cross-sector works are captured multiple times. The more wider we create the categorization nets, the more items get captured accidentally also, so we need to do this a bit more intelligently. There's also quite a limited data set. The volume of data is actually quite low, and so it's difficult to draw conclusions from. We thought of a number of ways about how to improve our project and what future works could be undertaken. One is with data capture itself, using key identifiers in the capture process, such as sector, type of works, and scale. Using forms rather than open fields would help, as we've demonstrated in the images below. Another item would be to cross-reference data. The Northern Ireland Planning Portal has numerous data sets that could be cross-referenced. Incorporation of reasons for rejection, for example, could develop a really powerful tool. We'd also look into machine learning, using data scraping to create live reporting and a predictive tool based on this latest data. But with this, we think more data itself is required. Thank you for listening and look forward to your feedback.